All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the One Podcast. I haven't done this in a while, so forgive my awkwardness or the lack of structure throughout the podcast itself. So, how this is going to work is I am just going to talk about things that are on my mind recently, and you guys can kind of chime in. And if you want your comment to be read, just put a little hey boom ahead of it, make it kind of stand out. And I'm not going to answer every piece of chat because that's kind of annoying for anybody watching in post. But if it starts up a decent conversation, then I'm going to try that. So anyway, there we go. So we're just going to start this. So the only thing I have kind of prepared for this podcast is I just have my notes that I use for my videos here. So kind of remind me about things I want to talk about. Except for that, that's actually on my screen right now. That's not what I want. So let's just get right into this and talk about Modern Warfare and how that's playing out in the moment. So this is weird because I feel like I'm doing a video, but I just need to relax and just talk. So Modern Warfare has a decent amount of controversy around it. Every Call of Duty does, to varying degrees. I mean, you have like Infinite Warfare's level of controversy, then you have like Black Ops 4's is a little bit lower, but kind of in the same ballpark. And then you have Modern Warfare. I feel like Modern Warfare is lower than both of them. I feel like more people are willing to accept Modern Warfare as the next COD than they were games like Infinite Warfare. But there does come a point where you start to hear every complaint like over and over again every year, and it's hard to take them seriously. Now, it's intellectually dishonest for us to ignore arguments about the new Call of Duty because we've heard them before. Just because we've heard them before doesn't mean they're not relevant anymore. So that's kind of a point that I would like to make very clear. When a game franchise has gone on as long as Call of Duty has and has built up the audience that Call of Duty has and god damn, I mean, we've had a Call of Duty game, like a major pop culture release Call of Duty game since 2007. So it's 2019. It's starting to wear a little thin for a lot of people, and that's understandable. But the things I heard people complaining about when I was young, and like Modern Warfare 2 was the newest COD, or Black Ops 1 was the newest COD, those complaints are still like prevalent today. And that kind of goes around like, this is overpowered. Like, overpowered is something I'd love to talk about for a bit. Because there was a huge misconception, I believe, in the Modern Warfare beta that somehow that M4 in the Modern Warfare beta was overpowered. So we can attack this from a couple different angles. Now, first of all, we don't have every gun in the game when we were playing the beta. We don't have every AR. We don't know if the AR is overpowered. Also, it's like a starting gun. It's the first gun, one of the first guns you get, and it's easier to use than the AK. So it's overused, not overpowered. And that's something that concerns and confuses me when I see people already getting mad about guns being overpowered. Just because a gun is easy to use doesn't mean it's overpowered. I don't think anybody should have their hair in the back of their head standing up. Was that doing that the whole time? That's tragic. I don't think... Like, do people think... Okay, do people think that the M4 in Modern Warfare 2 or 3 was overpowered? I don't think anybody did. It was an easy to use gun, but I don't think it was a actively overpowered weapon in any way. But with Modern Warfare, the M4 was just the easier to use alternative in the beta. It was an easier to use alternative to the AK, and people, slammed on the overpowered complaints and said it needed to be nerfed. Now, maybe it's just because I'm a douchebag contrarian, but I personally really liked the M13 so much better. So much better than the M4. The M4 was versatile, but the M13 just seemed to out-damage it and out-accuracy it. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but it just felt more accurate. It felt like it just was a better gun. I felt like the rate of fire on it was higher too. I don't know. Something about the M13 struck me more as overpowered or too easy compared to the M4, but everybody hyped up the M4 way too much. And I feel like it's going to get an unnecessary nerf because the developers know that if they release the game without nerfing the M4, people are going to be mad. The Call of Duty community, obviously, it's a broad term. We'll talk about that more later. The Call of Duty community is a broad term, to say the least. But the thing is, they don't find things out. They decide things. And that's kind of an uncomfortable reality I've kind of had to come to terms with over the last couple of years of doing YouTube, is that the Call of Duty community doesn't figure out that a weapon's overpowered. They decide that it's overpowered and then complain about it for the next 12 months. Whether it is or isn't is kind of irrelevant. So that's kind of funny to see. Now, there's other complaints about Modern Warfare, like camping. Now, camping, I hear complaints about camping all the time. All the time. I remember the day the straw that broke the camel's back when it came to the conversation about camping, for me personally, was the, what was it? What would you call it? I don't remember what the map's name is. It's one of the DLC maps for Black Ops 3, and it's like the Norse mythology one. It's kind of a smaller map. It's not very big. But while I was playing, I was going on a bit of a streak, and in my gameplay, you see me like go into a building, aim down sight, and like wait for somebody to come around the corner. I heard footsteps. I heard thruster packs outside, so I waited. And I got a kill. And then I heard some more footsteps, so I waited there for a little bit more. Got another kill. All around, totaled 30 seconds. 30 seconds of a 10-minute match. I waited because I was in a shitty area. I was on a streak, and I heard two people approaching me. There were several comments on that video time-stamping that moment in the gameplay, saying that I was camping. And then I realized the Call of Duty community, or at least the average Call of Duty player, thinks camping is just not moving for a minute. And newsflash, every good Call of Duty player knows that you're not supposed to move all the time. So anyway, but that's not really what I'm trying to talk about. What I really want to talk about is the fact that Modern Warfare is going to be a slower COD. And I really won't entertain many talks and many arguments about camping in Modern Warfare. That's why I made the video I did last night and uploaded it this morning. Because I don't think that we're in a position, I don't think the Call of Duty community is in a position right now to claim that Modern Warfare is too campy. Because if Modern Warfare is too campy, then Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare was too fast. Now, a lot of people believe that the majority of people want a faster-paced Call of Duty. I think that'd be impossible to test. Impossible to test. In fact, I've done polls. I've asked people over the years, what do you want? And every time a game comes out, it's too fast. There's people like me that complain it's too fast. Every time something's too slow, someone like someone else complains it's too slow. I feel like it's almost a 50-50 split. Maybe 40-60, maybe 70-30. But it's not, well, it's not for me to say like percentages. I just know that there's definitely an audience for a slower paced Call of Duty, especially after the last several Call of Duty games. I mean, Black Ops 4 completely made power positions irrelevant. Height advantage is irrelevant by adding in high mantle. And the grappling hook, of course, for Ruin. And, well, they made a lot of things irrelevant in Black Ops 4. But I'm just saying, why can't one Call of Duty be slower than the other? So, yeah. So let's look at the chat here for a second. Hi, everyone's saying hello to me. Someone said I'm all over the place. I feel like I've only talked about two things. Might be hard for you to keep up, but it's only been two things. Someone did say here, let's see, what was that? That was the same guy, Kent. I don't play COD for it to be slow. That's why they made Battlefield. I've never understood this. You know, Battlefield 3 and 4 and bits of Hardline allowed you to play slower because of the larger scale. But Battlefield isn't a slow game. I don't understand that conception, especially recently. Battlefield's just been a clusterfuck. And if you compare it to like the original Battlefield games, Battlefield's been a clusterfuck since Bad Company 1. So I don't understand the idea that Battlefield's slow. It's not. It's you have a big map, but you have 64 people on it. Like I don't know who like. Geez, I mean, I don't feel like the ground war mode in Modern Warfare was slow, and that's because yes, it's a large map with lots of camping spots, but there's 64 people on it, and that's something worth noting. Now, another thing about that is that, well, think about it. Okay, the slowest Call of Duty game is still a fast Twitch shooter. Think of the slowest COD game that you hate. It's still a fast-paced Twitch shooter. Battlefield has been slowly trying to make their games faster and more competitive, and in my opinion, it's lost its charm. It's lost its militaristic, kind of sandboxy, open feeling, and has just kind of traded that for, well, cheap kills. I don't know what you call it. When you have just so many people crammed into small areas. They added that game mode. What was it fucking called? They call it grind in Battlefield 5. I could not believe that they added that. And the same with the Fortress game mode. Like, it's just, here's a small point. Everybody just fuck around. It's just turn it into a meat grinder. They called it grind. They called it Fortress. Fortress was just charge our little base, try to take it. Grind was just, it's a mess. Trying to speed up the gameplay. Like, oh yeah, this is totally engaging. Yeah, now it's nice and fast, right? It's bullshit. Now, Call of Duty, like, okay, a lot of people say Call of Duty Ghosts. Well, okay, first of all, staying on Battlefield topic, even like their Conquest large maps, focus more on the objectives. They're more rectangular, they're simple. There's not as many vantage points to use. So when you have vantage points, people want to climb to the tops of buildings. They want to, take over power positions. They want those vantage points. They want those places. Battlefield 5 and 1 in a lot of cases don't have those areas, so everybody's just on the same level with varying levels of, less variables in the terrain, so nobody's encouraged to slow the fuck down and hold an area, like the mountains on Firestorm in Battlefield 3 and 4. No one's encouraged to do that. So they sped up the entire game. It's not just a game mode, it's not just 2 game modes. They're just trying to speed it up. They're trying to make it more focused. They're trying to put it in a frame. Battlefield was never supposed to be put in a frame. Call of Duty, on the other hand, was meant to be put in a frame, and it always has been. Even Call of Duty Ghosts is in a frame. Call of Duty Ghosts is more narrow. And even like I always say, there's sniper positions and then there's predictable sniper positions, and they're not equivalent. Okay? If your map is 3 lanes and 2 areas on each side of the lane are considered sniper positions, those are just symmetrical, predictable sniper spots. Those aren't positions for you to conceal yourself and take on long-range targets. That's not a place for that. So then you have the limiting of gameplay. And Call of Duty always used to be about the variety in gameplay. Like, not every match in COD 4, World at War, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, even Modern Warfare 3 with its smaller, more focused map design, they felt different. They allowed you to play differently, and Black Ops 2 did as well. We lost that. When we sped up the players, shrunk the maps, we lost that. My question is, why can't some people want a slower paced Call of Duty? If we're going to have annual releases, can we not have the same game 3 years in a row? Like, have you played Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, COD Ghosts, and Advanced Warfare? Drastically different. Drastically different in their pacing and style. I'm saying Black Ops, like, honestly, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, COD Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, drastically different. Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare, not so much. And COD World War II brought on the map design, for the most part, that just limited areas. So, either way. People are saying that, I don't know, I feel like it's a failure to adapt. I feel like it's almost like a sort of culture shock. But, in my opinion, it's what makes Call of Duty replayable. How do you make a 10-minute match of, like, TDM and a Twitch shooter consistently replayable? Do you guys ever realize, like, think about it this way. Free-for-all isn't the most played game mode. Domination isn't the most played game mode. Search and Destroy isn't the most played game mode. Hardpoint isn't the most played game mode. What is it? Team Deathmatch. Team fucking Deathmatch. Why has the Call of Duty community been obsessed with Team Deathmatch? it allowed for the most variety in playstyles. It allowed you to be aggressive or to hold back. It allowed you to take a power position and not worry that you were ignoring a flag. I'm not saying that's good. I'm saying look at the facts. TDM has been the most popular game mode. And I'm not claiming this to be my original finding. Because the Infinity Ward developers said the same thing. When they talked about map design for Modern Warfare, they talked about the fact that TDM used to be addicting to people because there were so many power positions to fight for. You know, so Team Deathmatch on a state in Modern Warfare 2 wasn't just kill or die, it was take the damn house. That was what was exciting. It was the cat and mouse game, it was the tug of war over power positions. When Call of Duty forgot that, Team Deathmatch just became monotonous, boring. You could argue that it was before, but I would argue otherwise. Maps had power positions. Maps had interesting dynamics that weren't in other maps. So if you were playing Team Deathmatch on Bog, or Block, or Backlot in COD 4, 3 B names I guess came to mind. If you played COD 4 on Block, Bog, or Backlot, they were all going to play differently. Drastically different. And that was important to people, and that's what kept them coming back. Because each map gave a different experience. And out of the maps I just mentioned, some are campier than others. Some have more snipers than others. I think it's like Bog has this many snipers, then Block, and then Backlot. Backlot allows you to be more aggressive because there's more cover. And Block kind of just encourages you to own the apartment buildings. But you don't have to. There's 2 areas on the other side that you can battle over. Rarely does it happen you have to battle over them, but you can. They're there. That map has more variety than half the maps in Black Ops 3. It's a slower game. If you don't like it, don't play it. I hate to say that. I hate hearing it. I hate saying it. I hate that it's even a term that we use in the gaming industry and the gaming communities. If you don't like it, don't play it. But if you don't like it, don't play it. I didn't like COD World War II, so I didn't play it. I didn't like Black Ops 3 after they fucked it, so I stopped playing it. I put in my time beforehand for sure, but I stopped. And I hate to say it, Call of Duty comes out every year. If you don't like it, pick it up next time. You didn't get what you want for Christmas this year? Wait for the next year. That's what you get. Let me give you a litmus test. Do you want to know if your game has interesting map design? Ask yourself this: can I competitively use every weapon at my disposal on every map? If the answer is no, then you have good maps. If you can't use every weapon and playstyle on every map, you have good maps. Some maps require you to think differently. That's good. If you guys ever played Halo, that's the core of Halo. Every map in classic Halo, pretty much, had its own gimmick. It played differently. It was of varying sizes. And so each match of Halo was different. It was different. It was more exciting. I don't know. And I'll say from personal testimony about the Modern Warfare beta, it's slow. Slower than previous CODs. But when I learned the maps and I figured out how to navigate them, I had a ton of fun being aggressive. A ton of fun. Anyway. Okay. Modern Warfare, let's see. Ken also says Modern Warfare only feels like it rewards campers and head glitchers right when you see these YouTubers are camping to get nukes. So, if someone's able to camp for a nuke, you suck and you deserve to get nuked. That's my video today, honestly, I think proved that. If one person... Now, funny enough, let's talk about this for a second. So, 8 Thoughts, if you guys know who that is, 8 Thoughts commented on my camping video. He made actually a surprisingly good point. In my video today, I talked about the fact that I was able to... I felt like my chair was too high. I felt like I was able... I showed that I was able to turn the tide of a map, or of a match, by camping for streaks. And I pointed out that it's not the game's fault, but that it's the enemy's fault. How do you let somebody kill you that many times from one room? It turned the entire tide of the game. So, 8 Thoughts was, well, right. He commented that if one person does it, that's one thing. You get multiple people doing it, well, because he's 8 Thoughts, he said an entire lobby of people doing it, which is kind of unrealistic. But, to be fair, if more than one person on my team was doing that, that's just frustrating. I totally agree with that. It's hot in my room. You know what I just realized? The heater's on. You know what I just realized? I'm like, holy shit, am I usually not this nervous on my streams, but holy shit, it's hot in here. I might have to open my window, but I think someone's mowing their lawn for some reason. But whatever. Won't have to deal with that too much longer. Cold weather's coming. So yeah, I stripped on stream today. That was fun. Anyway, people can counter campers. And I do agree that if an entire lobby or like a large group of people are camping, I don't think they're unbeatable, especially in a match of domination. I don't think they're going to win the game. You have 6 people huddled in a room, they're not going to win the game. I don't really know what the complaint is. It's like, yeah, it's kind of annoying. It's not very fun. But it's also not fun to play a Call of Duty game that never allows people to do anything other than rush, to push, to hold 1 of 3, maybe 4 lanes. That's not fun either. When you give people more options, they might use those options to be frustrating. Rainbow Six Siege proved the hell out of that. Battlefield's proven the hell out of that. But the game has some sort of deeper intrigue. Because yes, an entire team could camp in Modern Warfare. How would that play? How would you counter it? You wouldn't have to answer that question in Black Ops 3. It's a good point. So anyway. Yes, yeah, it's not fun when an enemy team is camping. I hope I make that clear. I don't think it's fun if an entire enemy team is camping. I'm just saying, give them the opportunity to do so. You know, 1 or 2 matches, you might have to actually put up with it. And I don't know, I kind of like that. I'd rather be annoyed by the way somebody's... Hey, iGame Mitch TV just subscribed. Thank you. Thank you for the subscription. But I'd rather some people be able to be annoying than everybody be restricted to a single play style. Just saying. So, okay. What else did I want to talk about? Let me look at my notes here. What else did I want to talk about on stream? Okay, so something I talked about in my mini-map video that I did the other day was that I was wrong about the mini-map. Not like, I still think I'm right about the mini-map, but I was wrong to ignore 12. Was it 12? That's right, I thought it was 13, but I double counted something. 12. There are 12 things in Modern Warfare that will increase situational awareness. There's a fucking loose hair. Messy hair is fun, guys, but, does that. I can't believe I missed that. I can't believe that I'm trying to cover the beta and I completely missed the fact that even though the minimap doesn't, in my opinion, work the way it should, between UAVs, personal radars, recon drones, advanced UAVs, snapshot grenades, heartbeat sensors, weapon perks that spot enemies, the compass itself, the top-down view when spawning, tracker, high alert, and spotter, all of that gives you situational awareness. All of that helps you pinpoint enemies, and a lot of them are counterable. So you're not completely subject to being constantly spotted, like as if you're playing Battlefield 4, but, you know, those things exist. So you're allowed to have your stealthy playstyle, but you just have to be a little bit more creative if you want enemies to be consistently pinpointed. I actually don't hate that. If you hate loose hairs, just go bald. I don't think I'm going to do that, Jake. Cut your hair short. It's less to worry about. Why are people talking about my hair now? No, Guys, I have a big face. Okay? I have a big face. If I cut my hair, I look like a psychopath. Trust me. So, let's talk about Breakpoint. Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I made a video saying that Ghost Recon was pushing me to my breaking point, and I still stand by that video. Breakpoint is a massive disappointment on so many levels. It's It's actually kind of sad. I wanted to like kind of hype that up and be like, let's talk about this. But then I'm thinking like, oh man, that's sad. I love Wildlands. I do. Let me tell you the story about Wildlands and me. So, Wildlands to me was incredibly boring and shockingly low on content and replayability. I felt like a super soldier running through Bolivia, nothing mattered, and the DLCs, frankly, sucked. So, I got a return. This is back when this is not that long ago, but it is back when Microsoft would allow you to actually return things that you bought digitally, even if it was a couple months ago. So I was like, hey, I spent like $100 on this edition of Wildlands, and I want it refunded. Long story short, a couple months later, I bought it on sale for $20. Let me tell you, that was great. The PvP was good. I don't like it anymore, but I liked it when it came out. And I just felt like a good $20 game. I don't know. I felt like I'd rather have spent 20 or 40 on it than 100. But whatever. Breakpoint. Cutting over to Breakpoint, I was kind of worried that I'd have that same kind of this would be a good game at half the price feeling, and it slowly took me over. Do you know what I realized while playing Breakpoint? I didn't keep playing it after my friends would get offline. Even though it's technically supposed to be more replayable and have more RPG elements, I found myself not playing it after people got offline. That's not good. For those of you playing at home, that's not good. Now, of course, that's just my personal perspective, but something's missing with it. I've ranted enough about its loot system and how I think that that's completely unnecessary for the game, but that's not the problem. It's empty. It's shallow. And I don't know why. I mean, I can say that, but I don't know what's making it so shallow feeling to me. I don't know what's making it feel so empty, but it does. It's also just not polished. It's not finished. And there was something about, wow, this game launches in like 6 days, and it feels like a AA game. Like not a AAA, a AA. That bothered the hell out of me. So, I don't know. It's hard for me to put my finger on it. That's why I'm kind of just vamping here. It's because what do I say about a game that I didn't keep playing, and I don't know why I didn't keep playing it. The only thing I can think of is that well, a big factor might have been because the beta was so close to the launch of the game. So I didn't really want to grind the game and do story missions and stuff if I knew I had to do it again in under a week. Like, oh wow, I got all these weapons and I got all these things and I visited all these places and I talked to all these people and I did these missions. I'll just do it again in a week. So I thought if I buy the game, this is going to be incredibly repetitive. Even though after I made the decision to not buy the game, and I'm not buying the game at launch, guys. I'm not. I didn't have fun. I'm not spending $60 when I didn't have fun. I'm not floating in that kind of cash, is what I'm saying. So, yeah. After playing, and realizing that I wasn't going to buy the game, I still couldn't get myself to sit down and play it. Knowing that the beta was going to expire soon, and I wasn't going to be purchasing the full game, I still didn't want to give it any more try than I had. I felt like the only things I really enjoyed about it were kind of surface level niceties. The ability to combat roll, prone camo, stuff like that. Punchier grenade and gun sounds also were cool, but it doesn't feel right. Sometimes when I'm playing single player, not with anybody else in my lobby, I would shoot an enemy, there'd be a delay, then the hit marker would show up, then they'd hit the ground. That does not spell finished game. I don't know what you guys are thinking. I'm talking to Ubisoft. I don't know what Ubisoft's thinking. Like, first of all, you've changed up the majority of the reasons people like Ghost Recon games. Okay? You've made it more arcadey. You've also... I'm getting ahead of myself. You've made it more arcadey. You made it more RPG-like. You advertise it as a survival behind enemy lines game, but it doesn't feel like that at all. How did that get past you? How did you either built a survival game and tacked on RPG and arcadey-like elements, or you built an arcadey looty shooter and went, oh, this isn't anything like Ghost Recon, we better add prone camo and the ability to drink water and eat rations? I don't know which is worse. I don't know which is worse. Is it worse for them to have built a good Ghost Recon game and tack on a system nobody's asking for? Or is it bad to build a looter shooter and tack on survival elements to justify the title of Ghost Recon? I don't know. So, I think Jason here, do you think Breakpoint has a similar problem as Black Ops 4 in the way that it's a good concept, but extra unnecessary stuff added on? Yes. Yeah. I feel that in every bone in my body. That Breakpoint could have been a behind enemy lines survival take on the Wildlands formula. I would have been okay with that. I would have pre-ordered. But it's like, why did you add so many things that don't make any sense? Like, you add something that draws me into the game, right? I need to worry about water and food and campgrounds and stamina. Those things feel like busy work if I'm also having to worry about my loot and my weight limit. You also have a limit of the amount of things you can carry. So many people are saying, boom, don't even worry about what you're picking up then. Just ignore it. Can't. Got a weight limit. So that weight limit's important because I don't want to go slower and I don't want to have any sort of limitations because I was carrying too much crap that drops every 5 seconds. Now, some people were saying that the gear level system, I was being a bitch about it. I was being a whiny bitch, and it doesn't actually matter. It doesn't actually affect anything. Let's think critically here for a second, kids. So, where do I start with that? If Breakpoint has a system in place that I don't like, and then I'm told that it doesn't actually affect the game, two things are happening. One, it does affect the game, and the game does such a shitty job of explaining how, or showing you how, that nobody thinks it does anything. So the game's not either portraying itself properly, and being forward with their design choices, and how they work, or the second option's worse. It doesn't make any difference, and it's just tacked on. What's worse? I'm genuinely curious in the comments in the chat here. What's worse? It doesn't do anything? Or it does something that nobody understands? Because if no one understands it, you failed as a developer, because a developer is supposed to kind of, let the player know what the fuck they're doing. And if it doesn't do anything, then why is it in the game? I don't know. So the thing is, when I made a video talking about Ghost Recon Breakpoint having an immersion mode and maybe adding in a mode that kind of gets rid of some of those more RPG-like elements and just makes the game more bare bones and kind of limits you in some ways, so many people were quick to tell me that, boom, the game doesn't need to be realistic. No shit. No shit. Now I'm going to do something here. Hopefully not fuck everything while doing it. Cool. I can't afford a ring light, so just brighten up my screen. So, think about that. What was I talking about? Shit. Okay, so Breakpoint comes out, and people don't know what's going on, or it doesn't work. What I'm trying to get at the end of this, at the end of this here, at the end of this Breakpoint talk, is that it left me feeling like it wasn't interesting. It was supposed to be replayable, but I didn't want to keep playing. So there's something there personally. There's systems in the game that I don't like that people are telling me don't matter. It's like, well, then why are they there? And why aren't they being properly explained to us? I don't know. Nolan says, I think that the second option would be worse because that would mean the developers failed somewhere down the line. I think so as well. I'm on the fence, though. So anyway. The other reason I don't think I really wanted to get into Breakpoint is because it kind of felt like it was going to be very demanding. It wasn't going to be something I can tactically. I can't just like hop in and play with my friends. It's something I have to like grind and. But apparently not, because it doesn't matter. People are telling me that like the starting assault rifle kills in the same amount of shots as like a level 150 assault rifle. I don't know what that means then. So, okay, Tay here says, the loot system in Breakpoint defeats the game purpose. Gear score will be justified in multiplayer maybe. Other than that, why does level scale matter? The best way to enjoy it will be with an immersion mode. In fact, the multiplayer gets rid of your gear score. It levels everybody out. There's no gear score increase in the PvP. So think about that for a second. Then what the fuck is it doing? I don't know. At least we still have Warframe, our casual shooter, says Snarkles. Yeah, you're right, Snarkles. That's the other reason I don't think I want to get into Breakpoint is because I have Warframe. If I want a PvE game that's going to require me to grind and learn, I'd just rather keep getting into Warframe. But that's the thing. An immersion mode would be perfect because all it would have to... I know, I'm not a developer, so every time I say all it would have to do, I don't know how many hours or months of work this would take, but look. You have Breakpoint, right? Picture Breakpoint. Take gear score out and weapon drops out. Replace blueprints with the actual weapons. I fixed the game. Now it's just different Wildlands. It's Wildlands on a fictional island with drones and robots, which is its own problem for some people, but I can live with that. I feel like the drones are just there to have like, okay, how can we have an enemy be bullet spongy but have to make sense? I know. Armor-plated drone tanks. I feel like I'm playing Arkham Knight. Yeeter McBeater, petition has been denied. But that's some people have been asking, like, what the fuck even is Breakpoint? And that's a fair question at this point in time. Like, what the hell is it? I've seen some people, like, genuinely not knowing what they're buying because they're like, okay, I don't know what I'm getting into. Am I buying a looter shooter? Am I buying... Like, that's a fair question. Some people are actually... I saw people on Twitter saying, like, what is the game? They're not advertising it like a looter shooter, which is the weird part. They're advertising it like hardcore, tactical. Like they had fucking... I think they had like fucking SEAL team members in like a promotional trailer, like talking about it. Like, you have SEAL team members. Or was it SEAL team members or was like Delta guy? I don't know. They had some military presence in a trailer. They're not advertising it like Destiny or The Division. They're not advertising it like it's a looter shooter. They're not talking about loot. They're not talking like it's Borderlands. They're talking about it like it's a realistic tactical military game. It almost feels like false advertising. It's very weird. I haven't been keeping up with Oh, sorry. For the post viewers. Thousand Fool says, haven't been keeping up with Breakpoint stuff. Could you give me a 60-second recap of what the game is? No. I genuinely can't. It's not a very good looter shooter. It's not a very good tactical open world shooter. It's not a very good sandbox game. if you played Ghost Recon Wildlands, it's like that, but with Division elements that apparently don't affect the game. I don't know. Snarkles has another good point here. He says, so if I want a Ghost Recon game, I should just get Ghost Recon Wildlands or some other Ghost Recon game? Ubisoft already has a looter shooter. Why are they trying to compete with themselves? It's a good point. You have a very good point there. In fact, that's the kind of shit that makes the FBI show up at your house. You think about it. Why? What's the point then? You have the Division. Division maybe isn't like flying off the shelves. It's not like Destiny levels of popular. But it's yours and it has a player base. Why are you trying to tap into that player base at the expense of a different player base? Like I said in my video, and I think this is the most true thing I can say about the game that's factual and not just my opinion. Wildlands was for people that didn't like the Division. Wildlands was for the person that didn't want to worry about gear levels and loot and rarities. That's what it was for. It was for the people that felt left behind by the increasing number of grinding looter shooters. I don't know. It made sense when they made Assassin's Creed more like an RPG, because it already kind of was. They just kind of made it more like a kind of a witchery Final Fantasy 15-y type of, RPG. It already kind of was an RPG, and it just like they kind of like refined that process. This isn't like, okay, well, Ghost Recon was basically an RPG, and now it's exactly what you wanted. It's like, I don't think so. Yeah, Wildlands at this point is a great game, especially for the price you can get it at. You can get it for like $17. Buy it. What else are we going to talk about today? Yeater Peter says, Ubisoft says, from Ubisoft, hey, so we have this kid now. Let's have another kid and starve the other one. It's kind of what it feels like. I feel like even EA made a better decision when they made Star Wars Battlefront. Like, this bothered me, but business-wise, it made sense for Star Wars Battlefront to be different from Battlefield. So it didn't compete for the same things. Like, the exact same types of play styles and the people that like that. So they made it a little bit more limiting, a little bit more arcadey. They made it a little bit more... they shortened the scale. Same player count, roughly, in some cases, but... yeah. You have to kind of define yourself a little bit. And it's weird. Like, Activision's smart about that. They didn't, like, push Bungie to make Destiny more like Call of Duty or anything. Like, it was its own unique thing. And Wildlands and Division were their own unique things. You know what sucks, too? The Division has a wildly... this is dumb, but the Division has a wildly better cover system. I don't know if you guys have played Division, but using cover in the Division feels so much better. It's a cover shooter. It's a cover realistically themed looter shooter with a good cover system. It's like a cover looter cover shooter. And Wildlands is not so bad. So, Yeater McBeater says, did you cover the Modern Warfare exclusivity shit show yet? So, hopping back into talking about Modern Warfare, yeah, let's talk about that. I think that should be our last topic for the stream. I can talk about that for another, like, 13 minutes. So, I don't care. Good night. See you guys. Just gonna wheel myself off the stage here, as it were. You know, goodbye. Don't care. Not my thing. Not my circus. Not my monkeys. Don't give a shit. Whatever. You gonna cry about it? You gonna cry about it? Here's tissue. No, I'm kidding. Look, it's dumb, right? Like, we didn't want that. Nobody would say that Modern Warfare should have an entire game mode limited to one platform for a year. Even if Modern Warfare is a 2-year Call of Duty, let's just say Modern Warfare is going to have a 2-year life cycle. Why the fuck would I want to wait 12 months to play a Horde mode? I'm paying the same amount of money. And if you want to make me wait 6 months, I'll begrudgingly accept. 3 months? Okay. 1 month? That's about right. A year? A year. I will be 22, almost 23, when I can play a survival mode? So that's outrageous. But if you guys have heard my video on it or seen me on Twitter, they were going to take something. Sony and Activision want money, and Microsoft, frankly, has been dropping the ball on making sure their players get something that makes it worth it to play on their platform. There, I said it. And PC, I don't know about the PC thing. Okay, it's not like Steam owns Call of Duty. Call of Duty's on Battle.net, which is Activision's thing. So I don't know what PC did to deserve this. They're playing on Battle.net. It's fucking Battle.net. That's Activision's thing. Now, I understand if Microsoft was to not be in the race, but Activision's not in their own race, essentially. So, what boggles my mind is that we are going to be having a cross-platform Call of Duty with no map exclusivity. Now, there's going to be something, seasons, weapons, something, but I'm pretty sure multiplayer, I could be wrong because I don't think they could do this with crossplay. Because of crossplay, I think multiplayer is just going to be on the same level. The exact same level. Whether you're on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation, you're going to be on the same level as everyone else. That's amazing. That was attractive. We get a campaign. We get what looks like to be a gritty, adult campaign. Happy about that too. Survival has had a lot of rumor. Survival is a very small sliver of the game. I'm not trying to damage Control for Activision. This is shitty, but they took the co-op Horde mode. I'm divided because the principle of the thing states that, well, the principle of the thing should state that I'm paying the same amount for less of a game. And that's 110% valid, in my opinion. If you want to boycott the game because of this, I'm right there with you. I'm not going to be boycotting it. I'm excited for it. But I understand the outrage. It doesn't blow my mind. It doesn't confuse me. But the practicality is, the big reason people buy Call of Duty is better. And if this is the cost for that, if Activision and Sony were going to do something to fuck over other people, I'm kind of glad it's this. It's the price you pay in this industry with these people. Because, oh, my monitor is wanting to unplug itself when I do that. When you play Call of Duty, I doubt many of you are going to be spending your time on survival mode. That's like the practicality of it, right? But it also doesn't matter because it's still less of a product for the same amount of money, so I'm at the very best conflicted. At the worst, I just don't give a shit. I'm apathetic to it. Now, there's rumors that Spec Ops will be very big this year. Like, it won't just be like a menu with missions, it'll be like an open world thing with like a hub world or something with like vehicles and shit. Like, it's gonna be like a co-op PvE experience. Like a baby Wildlands, like a baby Ghost Recon game. There's a rumor for that. It just stings because it's like, I don't care, and then I think more about it, and then I kind of start to care a great deal. There's a truck outside. So anyway, multiplayer will be better than it ever has been. It'll be more fair for everybody that's purchased the game. Most $60 purchases to Call of Duty are to play through the multiplayer. So the majority of people are getting a better product that restricts them in less ways. But the fact that you don't even have the option is what kills me. I don't have the option to play survival with my friends. That's dumb. And so that's where I'm at. Yes, it's awful, it's dumb, it makes me mad, but it's like, the reason I'm buying the game? The fuck was that? The reason I'm playing the game is better. The reason I'm buying the game, the reason I'm into the game, will be better because of this. But this really does point to the game being a 2-year lifecycle COD. And I'm hoping that's where they start to, make the shift. But you think they would have? I think they already would have said that. But maybe Sony is making them wait on that announcement. That could be interesting. But yeah, if survival's just, here's multiplayer maps with AIs on them you can shoot, it's like, yeah, I guess you can have that for your year, but I don't know. Because of crossplay, we have so many options for game modes and variety. Finding a match at any time of day or night throughout the next 2-3 years will be easy. That's nuts. Now, the only thing I can think about this game not being... Alright, so, okay, let me just end this stream, end this podcast by pointing something out. So, this Modern Warfare... Okay, Modern Warfare might be a 2-year Call of Duty. And here's what they might do. Alright, guys? Here's what they might do. They might... They might not want to do it because the new consoles come out next year, next Christmas. And they want to have a new COD on the new console. And that's, it's commendable. But, here's the big but. They also, I think both consoles are touting ray tracing and shit. So they might just be like, oh, and by the way, when the new consoles come out, Modern Warfare will look like this. And it runs at 120 frames, or you can turn on ray tracing, or you can have this and this. And it's like built future-proof. So it might be a future-proof game that they just like upgrade for the next generation of consoles, and maybe release Modern Warfare 2 Remastered or something along the lines of that with the console. That could be it. I can see them doing both. I can see them coming up on stage and saying, so Modern Warfare is getting a massive overhaul on your next console. And we're also releasing Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, but I can also just see them doing another COD. If they do another COD, all of this is to say, if they do another COD next year, I will be able to play a Horde mode for the next week before the next COD comes out. That seems, again, like I said in my video, that seems dumb even for Activision. It seems dumb for Sony. It seems dumb as just a decision across the board. Can you imagine? Hey guys, new Call of Duty's about to come out in like a week, but we get to play Modern Warfare's Horde mode. Like, it would just, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I dropped my pre-order because I love playing Horde. Sorry, Yes Z says, I dropped my pre-order because I love playing Horde modes, and the fact that I can't play one because of my platform choice. I won't pay full price for a game that doesn't have all of its content. That's fair. I'm not paying full price. I'm getting a $15 discount because of Bing rewards. I already did that bit in a video. How is it dumb for Sony? Because Sony wouldn't ask for a year's exclusivity for a 1-year game. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a dumb thing to come out and ask for, unless they somehow know the next Call of Duty doesn't come out. The next Call of Duty might come out in spring. Because the last thing we heard about the next Call of Duty is that there's drama behind the scenes with Sledgehammer, Treyarch has to be brought in, and there's drama. So that's all we know. But the next COD is that there's drama. Thousand Fool asks, over the years, COD has become more and more exclusive to PlayStation 4. Do you think that in 3 to 4 years, it could become a PS4 exclusive / timed exclusive? No. No, see, Call of Duty sells incredibly well on Xbox, and Microsoft, if they felt like they were going to lose that revenue, because they're okay with people being, like, not getting DLC first or a game mode first, apparently, for a year. But if they're like, oh, you're going to cost us $1 billion with an exclusivity deal, they'll buy Activision. Microsoft will just fucking come in and buy Activision. Like, they're not losing that much money. Call of Duty is a massively played game on Xbox. Not happening. Activision's right, Kent. Kent says Activision's the same company that said the community loves microtransactions. The majority clearly do. They made $1.25 billion. They're having $1 billion quarters because of it. If that doesn't mean people love them, I don't know. We don't love them as like hardcore Call of Duty fans, you know, that demand more from the products. But the general Call of Duty community, you realize the Call of Duty community is not made up of people doing crappy podcasts and hanging out in stream chats and watching YouTube videos. The average Call of Duty player gets home from work, plays some matches with his friends, and gets off. They never get to max prestige. They don't give a shit about that. They just play the game to shoot people and unwind. And it's kids. And it's kids that just play because they're kids and they'll play anything. It's kids. It's college students. It's adults with jobs. Getting home, playing because it's Call of Duty. It's fun. It's intuitive. It feels good in the hands. It looks pretty. They shoot people. They turn it off. If the community didn't like them, they wouldn't be making billions of dollars. If I released to you a product you didn't want, made $1 billion off of it, would you say that nobody likes it? Sorry, I'm not saying I like them or that they're good, but Activision's right. They do like them. They buy them by the truckload. What if Microsoft went full big dick energy and just bought Activision Blizzard? Well, Yeeter, that's not out of the realm. That's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not. Now, Sony could also probably do it if they really wanted to, but I don't think so. Kent, I'm going to tell you right now, Activision is not any more disgusting than anyone else in this industry right now. It's easy to blame Activision and call them out, but they're all just as bad. Yeah, Twitter makes up, that you realize that like the Twitter, like, okay, like Twitter and COD, like Reddit complaints make up like 5% or less. Like, oh wow, 20,000 people don't like microtransactions. Well, most of them already bought the game. I don't care. Why would I care? Seriously, like, think about that. They already bought the game. The people complaining about They're on Black Ops 4, right? Like, oh, why'd you release a $20 melee weapon into my game? That's right, it's your game. You bought that. There you go. So, yeah. That's going to wrap up this podcast. It's gone on for an hour, and I thank you guys for listening to me rant and tangent. These will get a lot more better. I'll get more confident and comfortable doing these. I might write up little half scripts, little bullet points. But I'm going to say here, Kent, don't have an aneurysm. Everybody understands that. Some people just don't choose to die on the hill that's making the company billions of dollars. Okay? It's like, wow, they put weapons in supply drops? That's crazy. Wow. Really? Like, no shit. So let's take the long list of things that we've been charged for that we didn't need to be charged for from every development company that exists. When it comes to lack of quality, when it comes to aggressive microtransactions, let's just make a list. Activision's on that list and Call of Duty's on that list, but it's just the way the industry is. It's just the way the industry is. Kind of just have to accept it at this point. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming out, looking at my face, listening to my words, and next time I realize I'll have to get better lighting in here. I'll need a glass of water. And oh, and later today, guys, if you're still here, I'm gonna be streaming Call of Juarez Gunslinger on my. I'm gonna fire that up on Steam, make sure everything's updated, and I'll be playing that tonight. That'll be in a couple hours, so it might be a little bit late for some of you, but that's when I'm gonna be doing it. So I will be doing another stream tonight as well. So yeah, I will be uploading this podcast, and you guys can listen to this in post if you just want to listen to it. So if you're coming in here at the end, it will be on the channel, and you can just listen to it while you masturbate or whatever floats your boat. See you guys later. And I will bye when I see you. That's my new outro. I clicked the wrong thing.